Come take a closer look at this flower. This is the Paphiopedilum orchid in full bloom in its glory. This is why so many of us just absolutely love orchids. They bring so much variety. And this is one that I've been growing for a couple of years, and I thought, I have one that's in bloom. I have another one that's just getting its little flower buds started. Thought it'd be a good opportunity to give a little bit of background on them, as well as how to grow them, as well as I've learned how to do. So the genus Paphiopedilum, also called the lady slipper orchid, which is not such a descriptive name because there's lots of different lady slipper orchids out there, but this genus comes from Southeast Asia, and these are semi-terrestrial orchids that will be grown on the humusy rich forest floor out in Southeast Asia. So while I of course love them for their flowers that can last up to 2 solid months each year, they also have gorgeous thick strappy foliage which is super jungly, so it has just a really wonderful energy about it all year round. But what I really love about it is it's a really easy orchid to grow. There's not a lot, there's one trick which I will explain later, but generally speaking, it's one of the easiest kinds of orchids to grow and to encourage to flower year after year. Now the very first thing we want to consider is the lighting of these plants. It's a rather low light orchid. So here in the northern hemisphere, I grow mine typically in eastern facing windows, near that window, or I can grow them in a southern facing window or western facing window. But in those situations that give it more light, I can bring it away from the window. It doesn't need to be directly next to that window getting the most intense sunlight possible. Now, while it is a low light orchid, I do want to make sure it gets some brightness. If I have it in a north facing room that gets just like pretty dim all the time, that's not going to be sufficient lighting to encourage that reflowering from one season to the next. So there's two different kinds of Paphiopedilum, the ones that have the pure green foliage and then the ones that have the mottled foliage like I have on both of my plants. Now within those two main categories, there's literally hundreds of different kinds of hybrids and varieties out there. Very unique, lots of differentiation. Now if you are growing those green ones, they like a little bit cooler temperatures. In speaking in Fahrenheit terms, daytime temperatures in the low 70s, upper 60s is great, with nighttime temperatures in the lower 50s is going to be perfect. The mottled foliage ones, they're going to prefer a little bit warmer temperatures in the mid to upper 70s, even into the lower 80s during the daytime. The night times around the mid 60s, lower 60s is going to be perfect. Now, while they do have slightly different temperature requirements, what you'll notice from both of them is that they need warmer daytime temperatures with cooler nighttime temperatures. That is exactly the same as our Phalaenopsis orchids, which require that difference in temperatures in order to induce that flower formation. If you're not able to provide that difference in temperatures, it's really unlikely that you're going to be able to encourage them to produce flowers from one year to the next. So that is the real only difficult part of the process, is finding somewhere where you can get that difference in day and night temperatures. Now I grow both of mine in two different locations. I grow this guy in my office, which during the winter months, I'm at my desk and I turn a little space heater on in that room and it gets nice and warm during the daytime hours. At night, when I'm not there, I turn that heater off and the room cools down. This guy I grow in our living room, which the night times get quite cool, even into the 50s, but during the daytimes we always have our fire going, so it definitely warms this room up. So I found two different locations in my home where I'm able to give it that difference in day and night temperatures. The result is flower on this guy, bud on this guy. All right, so now that we know the trick to getting them to flower from one year to the next, let's talk about general care with regards to watering. Now, like a lot of different orchids, these plants are going to want slightly moist, yet never soggy conditions. So that means you need to have the right soil substrate mix. So for me, what I like to do, I like to use like a 50% houseplant bagged potting mix, and then the other 50% I'll split between sphagnum moss and orchid bark. That's going to provide a growing media that retains moisture nicely, but also has the ability to drain very efficiently, exactly what orchids want. Now these do like a little bit of extra humidity, so while I am growing both of them in small little plastic pots, I have them in these cache pots that do not have any drainage holes underneath, and I will generally allow for a little bit of moisture to remain in the bottom of that pot. Not a ton, maybe like, you know, 1/4 of an inch, to provide a little bit of extra moisture, a little bit of extra humidity for these guys. And with those temperatures and the lighting that I was describing earlier, you're generally going to water it about once a week. You know, they're not super fussy about that. They can even go a little bit longer without watering them, and they're not going to suffer. Don't use ice cubes though. Don't use ice cubes on any plants, including these orchids. Now, many orchids, including the Paphiopedilum, are definitely going to benefit from regular fertilizer. I forget a lot, I'll be honest, but I do try to give it fertilizer like at least once, but idealistically twice a month. So if I'm watering it 4 times a month, every other week I'm gonna be giving it fertilizer. I use a well-balanced fertilizer, my family's blend called Roberta's Bounty. Generally, this blend calls for 1 tablespoon of water-soluble fertilizer per gallon of water. I'll give it a half strength, so I'll give it half of a tablespoon per gallon of water, and then I'll just water my plant normally with that fertilizer water. And that's typically going to be enough to make these nice and happy. So as you'll notice, the best case scenario for those of us growing our plants indoors like I am here in Westchester, Pennsylvania, Zone 6B, is that we're going to be able to get that difference in night and day temperature most likely during the winter months. So I'm here in the middle of February, and that's when I have my flower and my bud just getting started. And that's typically going to be the case for you if you're growing yours indoors. If you live where it's warm year round and you can put it on a porch, patio all year, you might have a slightly different blooming period because you're able to give that difference in day and night temperature at a different part of the year. So as you can see, you know, the flowers, they get quite long, and I love how it looks like this, but if you are, and I don't do anything, I just let it be, but if you are interested in keeping it upright, what you can do, you can just take a little chopstick, and then what we're gonna do, we're gonna pull it up nicely just like this. We'll take the chopstick, we'll put it in just like this. And then I have one of those twist ties from like some bread or something. Ideally, you could get a darker color to match the stem of the flower. And now your flower will stay more upright if that's, you know, what you like. Now, because these plants have a substrate with orchid bark and sphagnum moss that's going to deteriorate over the course of the growing season, it can be very helpful to give them a repotting once a year. Now, you may repot it once a year into the same size container, just providing it with a fresh batch of that soil medium. Or you can slightly increase the size of the pot, very, very slightly. They love to be in a very snug fitting container. But the best time to give it that repotting would be after they're done flowering. You're gonna wait until those flower stems have browned completely. You're just gonna snip them off, and that's normally a great time to give them a repotting. And if you're able to, put them outside in a mostly shaded area during the course of the summertime, and that's gonna promote even richer, denser, faster growth on your plant if that's what you're looking for. All right, so let me show you how I repot it. First thing you want to do, you want to take it out of that old pot and just loosen up all that soil out. We're going to discard that old soil. So now I have that substrate mix that I showed you guys how to make earlier, and I always like to pre-moisten, especially when it comes to chunky mixes like this. Pre-moistening is really going to help you get it potted in more easily. So start by putting a little bit of that substrate mix into the bottom. I had to take a little bit out because it looked a little bit too tall. And then we're gonna just gently put that orchid back into that pot, going around the sides, trying to really fill in all of those air pockets with our substrate mix. Now, generally when I'm repotting stuff, I do not recommend kind of pushing down on the soil to make it a little bit more compact. But because this is such a chunky mix, it's okay to do so. You're not going to eliminate all of the airspace. So just continue to go around the sides, filling it in with that substrate mix, gently pushing in so that all of those roots are absolutely covered with that substrate mix. You don't want to have any of that root material showing above the top of the pot. And then once you have it potted up, we're gonna give it a nice amount of water until you see the water come out the bottom. Let it drain for a second, and then we're gonna put it back into our cache pot or on our tray, whatever you have. Generally, a plant this size will give you 1, maybe 2 flowers during the course of the season. One stem typically provides 1 flower. Some varieties can provide a couple flowers, but the norm is for 1 flower with 1 stem for a plant that's this size. And I think that's about all that you need to know in order to grow your Paphiopedilum lady slipper orchids as well as possible. These plants, they're not cheap. Mine were like 50, 60 bucks a piece. So it's definitely worth doing a little bit of investigating, a little bit of research on how to grow them well if you are considering investing in one of these beautiful plants. And hopefully this video, is everything that you need to know about growing them well. If you do have any further questions or comments, absolutely leave them in the comment section below. We have lots of other great gardeners on this channel that are constantly leaving awesome advice in the comment section. Anyways, thanks for joining me here on Plant Vibrations. I'll catch you soon. Ciao.